Hey everyone, this is Tom Singer. Before we get started with today's episode, I want to inform you about a special offer that I have to join a brand new group called My Sales Call. If you work for a small business or if you're a solopreneur, having some people to talk about ideas and best practices and to have a focus and accountability around sales is so important. It's so easy to get caught up in the busy work that we don't do what we need to do to drive the sales in our business. So I have started a weekly call where people can get together and share ideas around sales and then make a commitment to the group of what they're going to accomplish for the next week. It's just like if you work for a big company, your sales manager would have a weekly sales call. This is your sales call. Go to mysalescall.com to find out more and sign up today.
Welcome to the Cool Things Entrepreneurs Do podcast with your host, Tom Singer. In each episode, we explore the interesting lives of business leaders, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and others who have a healthy dose of the entrepreneurial spirit. It is time to explore something cool. Now, here is your host, Tom Singer.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Cool Things Entrepreneurs Do. Thank you so much for pulling your chair up to the cool kids table. I started this podcast 5.5 years ago so that I could sit down and interview really smart people who are doing cool things. And usually I do these interviews via Skype or Zoom, but today you may hear some birds in the background, you may hear a waterfall going, or maybe you hear some people talking, because I am sitting face to face with Sawyer Lewis, and she is one of the co-founders, her and her husband and some others, of LeRoy and Lewis BBQ. And they have a food truck that, for the time being, has been in the Cosmic Coffee parking lot. If you've ever been to Cosmic Coffee in Austin, Texas, it has an amazing little area where there's, 4 food trucks. And they are, I think, the signature food truck on the block because they have some of the best barbecue you're going to ever eat. And so I met Sawyer recently, and I said, I have to talk to you about what you guys did starting the food truck. And now they are opening a physical location that I think includes a brewery. So I can't wait till that opens. So,
me too.
So Sawyer, welcome to Cool Things Entrepreneurs Do.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Tom.
So I came out here to meet you at the food truck. And before we got started, one of your people brought me 3 meats and a couple of sides, and I am in heaven. I'm going to eat my way through this interview. I want to start off with one thing. Before we get into your entrepreneurial journey, they don't have brisket. Apparently on the weekends you have brisket.
We do now have brisket on the weekends. So on Saturday and Sunday, starting at 11 o'clock, we do serve Cushy Brisket.
However, in Texas, not having brisket on the menu from day one, as a Texan or a native, as a adopted Texan, I moved here 29 years ago, I judge my barbecue places on their brisket.
Yeah. Well, the reason we do that, we made that decision for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, we are living in the mecca of barbecue, right? Austin, Texas is highly saturated with delicious barbecue restaurants that are making some of the best brisket, arguably the best brisket in America and the world, and state of Texas, So,
and we're famous for people lining up to buy that brisket at one location.
And while we do have that on the weekends, our concept is taking the idea of barbecue one step further to really push people out of their comfort zone. So instead of just serving brisket, we try to push people out of their comfort zone to try our beef cheeks.
Well, that's what I was talking about when I started this, is I looked and just thought it was brisket because it's sliced and it looks like it's got a rub on it.
We trick you like that?
Yeah, and then the person who brought it out said, this isn't brisket, it's beef cheek. And I don't even know, sounds like the face of a cow or something.
It is the face of the cow. So we take the beef cheek and we trim it like a little mini brisket. We season it, smoke it like a little mini brisket, and then we confit it in its own fat. And then slice it. So basically, it looks like brisket, tastes a lot like brisket. It's a little richer. It's a little bit more unctuous.
Oh my God, it's incredible. I've never had beef cheek, and I never had until 10 minutes ago. You have to get to Austin, Texas, and you have to get to LeRoy and Lewis because...
Yeah, but it's important to know, we only do the beef cheeks Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays until they sell out. So
I didn't know.
Yeah. So it's great because, we try to offer something for everyone. So we have a lot of people that come to town and are interested in having more traditional barbecue. So on the weekends, when we see a lot of those guests, we offer Cushy Brisket, which is basically a really lovely, well-marbled version of brisket. The breed is a cross between Angus cattle and Wagyu. cattle.
Okay.
So really, really high quality, really, really special. So it's also taking that, traditional barbecue menu item and making it that much more special.
What you guys can't see is while she's talking, I'm like making the motion of keep talking, because I'm chewing and eating everything on here. They also have, I'm eating cauliflower at a barbecue place, and it's been seasoned. It looks like it's been barbecued.
Yeah,
and I just want to eat like the whole head of cauliflower, and I've dipped it in this spicy sauce. It's awesome.
Yeah, so we, once again, we call ourselves, our brand is that we're doing what we call New School Barbecue. So New School Barbecue is this idea that we are taking traditional Texas barbecue methods and then pushing, the boundaries to create something unique. We source all of our meats and produce locally and sustainably, which really sets us apart. And then we add in fun additions like, we have chimichurri this week. We have our Beet barbecue sauce. So our house barbecue sauce is a traditional Texas barbecue sauce, but we add beets to the mix, making it a little earthier.
It's really good.
Yeah, it has a nice bright pink hue. We also serve kimchi with our barbecue, which is pretty controversial.
The kimchi was hiding under my side of kale. I didn't see it over there on the side. I'm going to have to go visit the kimchi.
Yeah, kimchi, is a divisive situation, but people love it. And it's really, really nice with the rich barbecue, because it has some nice acidity. It has, the onion, the garlic, the chili flake, the kind of ramp up, like the flavors of like a normal pickle. So yeah, we call it like our New School Barbecue pickle.
So were you and your husband both always entrepreneurial? What did you guys do earlier in your careers? You're both very young, so.
Yeah, and I'll back it up. And so Evan and Lindsay LeRoy are our two business partners. Evan is the chef and pitmaster at our truck, and we do a lot of catering. So what you see here is not all that we offer. We do a lot of off-site events.
In fact, we met at an event that was put on by one of the venture capital funds here in Austin.
Yeah.
And you fed like 200 people who just lined up to just chow down on the barbecue.
And that's really what we like to do. I would say that's where my experience kind of comes into play. Evan, who is like I mentioned, our chef and pitmaster, he's been cooking barbecue for well over a decade now. He was at Friedman's, which is in West Campus before.
Yep, I've been there.
And when he left, he was really looking to do something on his own. My husband and I, at that time, lived in Houston and definitely have an entrepreneurial spirit. We both kind of come from backgrounds of, family business-oriented backgrounds. So yeah, it was important that we eventually, in this line of work, it's challenging to really make a lot of money, or at least have a lot of flexibility in your schedule to have a family. So the goal, the long-term goal is to be able to really be able to grow this into something bigger. But, the short-term goal is to be able to work for ourselves. So it's been great so far.
So how long have you been open in this location and doing the catering?
So we've been open for 3 years, starting in actually like right at this time. So we opened at the end of February, early March, right before South by Southwest of 2017. And it's been quite the adventure.
What's been the hardest part of getting started? I mean, I've been a food truck eater. Get a load of this, since 1982.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
before food trucks were cool.
Who ate in food trucks in 1982? You probably weren't even born in 1982.
I was.
Okay.
I was young, but I certainly wasn't eating in food trucks.
So I grew up in Southern California, in the suburbs of Los Angeles.
Very cool.
And there was a taco truck
Yeah.
that parked on Green Avenue and Fair Oaks. If anybody listens to this, I don't know the name of it. We just always called it the taco truck because there weren't other food trucks.
Yeah.
And it would pull up in the afternoon about 5 o'clock. I think during the day they went around and served construction workers. And then at dinner time, they opened and they would stay open from like 5 or 6 o'clock through like 2 a.m. So this is back to when I'm 16. My friends and I would drive over. We would get street tacos. And people always, my mom would be like, you're eating out of a food truck. Like, oh my God. To this day, I've never had a better food truck. And it's still there as of a couple of years ago. When my father died 5 years ago, I was out there, and one night I couldn't sleep, and my family was going to sleep, and I said, I'm going to go do something. I just got in the car, drove to Pasadena, went down Fair Oaks, and it was if I'm doing this by
down
memory.
memory lane, yeah.
Yeah, it was parked no longer at Green because that's been developed into a new building, but it was parked like in the parking lot of like a storage, like one of the big storage companies where you self-store type things.
Yeah.
And they just pulled up in their front parking lot. Apparently they had a deal to do it.
That's
and
awesome.
there was a line of 25 people at 10 o'clock at
Man,
night.
timeless.
Yeah, it was timeless. So
Yeah.
I've been eating food trucks forever. So what was the hardest part of getting into this now very competitive space?
It's interesting. The food truck world is very unique. I actually have a background in working in hospitality and have pretty much worked in hospitality my entire adolescent and then into adult life. But I'd never worked in a food truck before. My husband had worked in a couple food trucks. But it's definitely a different game. I would say that it's really easy it was easy for me because I'm pretty ambitious and intense and kind of time-oriented, organized. To get started, to open your food truck. We also bought a used truck. This food truck is older than our youngest employee, which is kind of funny. It has a nice, pretty paint job, and we have our brand is really nice. But the truck itself was Smokey Denmark's truck. So we bought it from them, got a really good deal on that. It was challenging to find someone to paint such a large vehicle in a short amount of time because I really had a short timeline, and it was important for me to get going before South by Southwest of 2017. So yeah, there were a couple small things to overcome, but really I would say in the food truck world now in Austin, it's really important to have a good space because moving the truck, especially a really old truck, is really challenging. So the first year we were open, Cosmic Coffee, where we are sitting, did not have the waterfall that is next to us, and did not have these beautiful trees that they have recently brought in. It was very much a construction zone. It was a dirt parking lot without any shade. And we knew that Cosmic was going to open, but they were a little behind their timeline, and that's kind of the story of most development and in Austin, right?
Or anywhere, yeah.
Yeah, but especially here, notoriously, if you're going to open a brick and mortar of any kind, it's hard. You got working with the city is challenging. So a food truck is a really wonderful way to really get going quickly. And for the investment is considerably less than if you're going to go into a building.
I mean, not nothing, but it's a moderate investment, and certainly you don't have the long-term lease and everything else.
Exactly. But since then, Cosmic did open, and they've slowly kind of developed, and we've developed. We've also moved into originally we had one thing that people don't understand is if you have a food truck in Austin, Texas, you have to have a commissary kitchen. So you have to have a place where you dump your gray water and your trash. You have to have a place where the health department knows that you're holding your food, cooking your food in the desired temperatures, and you have enough storage to really do that safely. So we originally were doing that in a shared kitchen, and that was really challenging because we didn't have any space, and that really limited what we could do. So 2 years ago, we moved into a commissary kitchen, so now we have a full kitchen, which we share with just one other food truck group.
Which is great for your catering business because you've got all the space in the world.
It really changed the game for us. It allowed us to bring in whole animals. So we bring in whole/half hogs, and we do our whole hog barbecue now.
So I'm really glad we're doing this interview in the kind of dining area outside Cosmic Coffee and not there where there's dead whole hogs.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to see dead whole
People
cows.
love it, though. People are really into it. And the goal is, to eventually bring in larger animals and be able to do more of that because it's really more sustainable than just buying, one cut at a time.
Right, and if you have a good butcher, that's the way.
Exactly.
Having the whole animal gives you a lot of more things you can do, especially in your case where you're so creative. You have the whole animal, there's a lot of things you can do.
Exactly, and that's another thing that, like I mentioned earlier, we source all of our meats locally and sustainably, and it's great to know where all of our food comes from, but it pushes us, with that sustainable model, it really pushes us to, like you said, think creatively and also utilize some cuts that might be overlooked at other barbecue establishments or restaurants in general. So it's kind of a two-way thing. It's great. We're inspired by the products that we can get, and then we get to wow people when we do something really unique with them.
So one of my mottos in life the last 3 years has been try new things.
Ooh.
And so beef cheek is my thing of the day.
Well, good.
But I definitely, think that when I go to restaurants, I oftentimes will look at what do you have, or if I'm traveling, and I travel a lot, I'm gone about 100 nights a year. I try not to eat in chains when I'm gone.
Me
the
too.
other night, somebody wanted to go to Cantina Laredo, and I'm like, that is so funny. We have one in Austin. Let's go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I don't mind going to a chain if it's local or we don't have one in Austin, but why would I go to a California Pizza Kitchen if I'm in Detroit?
Yeah, exactly.
So I always try to say, what does this restaurant have, or what's the local thing that people like? And it's always a good thing. So cheers to what you're doing.
I absolutely agree. I love to travel. I would say that that's outside of food and beverage. That's my passion. And obviously, when you're traveling, I like to push myself to try new things and eat what the locals eat. It's always great. And it's also it's a wonderful way to kind of dive into the culture of wherever you're visiting. So we get a lot of that here. We get a lot of people that are coming from the airport. We get a lot of people from all over. I would say at this point, at least visiting the truck during the nice weather, I would say almost, this is an estimate, of course, but I would say maybe 65% of people that come to eat with us are from out of town.
So you have a reputation that goes beyond our wonderful little city of Austin.
Yeah.
How did you grow that reputation?
Well, I think having a story to tell is really wonderful. Evan has a really strong following as a chef and pitmaster. He's not only, like I said, he's not only doing the same old. So people are always coming out and wanting to try something new. We're also really lucky. My fourth partner, Lindsay LeRoy, his wife, is our publicist, and she has a strong background in hospitality PR. So she is well connected. And I think Evan and Lindsay both had a really strong sense of community when we were going into this whole project. And I think we're good at connecting with people and making a lasting impression.
Sure. So, well, like I said, I met you guys and you were there serving up at a kind of a corporate event, and I thought it was delightful to hear the story of what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
And one of the things that I found really interesting, because we were at a sort of a venture capital technology startup thing, we got talking about that, and you lit up like a light bulb and started telling me about your new brick and mortar location. Yeah. So let's jump into that. What is this going to be? Is it going to be LeRoy and Lewis as well? Is this going to have a different name? What is it? It is
going to be LeRoy and Lewis. It will be a brew pub, which is really exciting. My husband is a professional brewer.
Wow.
He is currently the quality manager, which is basically he runs the beer lab at Austin Beer Works, but he's also a partner here and spends his nights and weekends and all of his time off working with me. And he's really wonderful. His background, he brings a lot of analytical data. Like, he's really great at observing trends and using that information like he does at work and here to make changes and monitor our performance and really push forward to the next level. So it's great.
I have to jump in.
Yeah.
While she's talking, I'm eating kale coleslaw. I think that's what it is.
It's a kale Caesar coleslaw.
Oh my God. It's like every bite, I'm like, just keep talking about the store because I'm going to finish all the coleslaw.
Yeah. So, we can make kale tasty. Who knew? This was always kind of the goal. The goal was always to have a brick and mortar brew pub. What goes better than beer and barbecue?
Nothing.
Nothing goes better. I think we also want to do something unique in that light, where we are going to focus on serving and brewing open fermentation focused German style beers, and then also do some unique things like some beer cocktails and some other fun stuff, which actually will make it a little bit more new school. So you can come and have a more traditional beer experience, or you can come and have kind of a cool, hip, new beer experience. So, and that's what, like I said, that's kind of what we're doing here with the food.
When is it going to open?
As soon as possible. Once again,
South by Southwest is in a month.
No, it will not be open by South by Southwest. We're still in the fundraising process, which is one of the reasons that I met you at that event. Is we still are actively seeking investors. It's a very big project, and we've been blessed to be connected with some really wonderful people. But a lot of our current investors are folks that have been working in the tech community for quite some time. So it's interesting now that Austin is a very tech-oriented community. It seems like there's a lot of people that are now in a good financial situation that want to be able to get involved in something that's really fun. that they get to do when they're away from the office.
Barbecue and locally brewed beer.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Right? Exactly. And it's all about the community. So we are looking forward to continuing to expand that and serve a different neighborhood. And
do you know where it's going to be located?
I do, but I do not want to tell you.
Okay.
We're really close, but
we'll keep our eyes open.
Yeah, I got to create some suspense.
You've got the buzz.
Here,
Everybody
right?
who's listening is like, no, I want to go.
Yeah. Well, you'll be able to come soon enough. So just keep following us. We're really active on social media.
What is your favorite social media to promote said barbecue and food truck?
I would say that our Instagram we have 17,000 followers.
Wow, that's more than I have.
Well, I mean, food, it's easy to get some attention.
It's hard for some guy who just talks about networking and potential and who does a podcast to get that many followers.
It's amazing. I also don't have very many followers personally, but I spend a lot of time posting pictures of food.
I'm going to post a picture of the food right after we finish.
And we'll
right
see
after
how many
finish
likes
this.
you get.
That's
it's
right.
Amazing.
I'll tag it. I'll tag it, and we'll go. And actually, we're doing this interview today. Normally, my interviews post weeks later. This should post actually today because I don't have a show ready to go live. So,
well, great. Well, I hope
this is like a live broadcast.
No,
there's going to be no editing. It's just me chewing on barbecue.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, social media has really done well for us because it allows us to also communicate actively with our guests. So if we're going to do something unique, we're going to have a different special and highlight a unique item that we might have received this week. It's a really wonderful tool. And then, people like to see, we have a lot of texture and color in our food, and that really helps.
I'm posting a picture of this meat plate that you brought me because I don't know that I've had a food experience like this in a long time.
Well, good. We're really flattered to hear that. I mean, we hear a lot of positives, and that really helps. When we're very seasonal. It's really hard out here when it's raining and cold. So.
Yeah, this would not be where I would come if there was a 29-degree day with some rain.
But we do now have, you can sit inside at Cosmic. So if you wanted to come get your barbecue and then eat inside, you're welcome to do that. That's something that a lot of people do not know.
I did not know.
We also pack everything up to go. So, but we're definitely very seasonal, and it's really nice and encouraging when people are really positive.
Well, today's a great day. It's 70 degrees. The sun is shining. The birds are chirping. So I've got more questions for you. I'm not going to let you go quite yet.
Sure.
But before I do, I have to thank the sponsor of this episode. So this episode, like all of them, is brought to you by Podfly Productions. Podfly takes the time and the headache out of creating your own podcast. And I know that some of you who listen, you want to have your own podcast because when I run into you, you say, I've been thinking of starting a podcast. Well, if you're going to do that, don't do it unless you contact the people at Podfly Productions. They have been a fabulous partner for now, I think it's 339 episodes. I'm sorry, 539 episodes. They have been a great partner over the last 5.5 years. And you can go over to podfly.net/cool things, and they have a special offer for people. I'll tell you what, they do all the heavy lifting and the technical work. I could sit here and interview people like Sawyer and eat delicious barbecue all day long. Maybe I'll become a Cool Things barbecue.
Yeah.
Cool Things about barbecue will be my next podcast. But I could sit here and do it all day long. But as I said, this is going to go up probably today. I have to go speak at a conference. By 3 o'clock, just 3 hours from now, I'm going to be on stage. She's probably wondering why I showed up at a barbecue joint in like a suit. It's because I have to go speak at a conference, and while I am live on stage, Podfly is going to be behind the scenes doing all the editing and getting this whole thing posted. So jump over again to podfly.net/cool things. So Sawyer, I call my show Cool Things Entrepreneurs Do.
Yep.
What is the coolest thing you guys are doing right now, or is it the new store?
We're doing a lot of things, and that's something that is unique, I think, to us. We always try to collaborate with other people in the community. We like to create our own programming when we're a little slower. Right now, the most exciting thing happening starting tomorrow is we are doing what we're calling New School Barbecue University.
Oh, this sounds very cool. Tell me more.
Very cool. So we have 30 students coming from across the United States. I would say probably 10, 12 of them are from Texas, all over Texas.
Are these people like professional barbecue chefs, or are they people like me who are like, wait a minute, I want to learn to cook like Sawyer's husband and business partner?
Yeah, it's It's a little bit of both. So I think we have a lot of like backyard enthusiasts, a lot of backyard amateur cooks that are coming, a lot of people that are really looking to take the next step and maybe do pop-ups on the weekends or start a food truck. And then we do have like a large chunk of the group is coming, and they're professionals from all over. It is a little bit more expensive if you're an in-state professional, because obviously then you are once you learn all our secrets, you become our competition.
You become the competition.
But yeah, so it's nice to bring in different, levels of people. And I think that will create a unique community that they can also hopefully bond with each other and learn from. But it starts tomorrow night, and we'll do like a welcome dinner with fried chicken. Because that's another thing we do. We do like a pop-up series with our pitmaster, Brad, who is like a fried chicken guru. He fries chicken and beef tallow. So we'll do a welcome dinner tomorrow night. And then there's 2 days of classes. We'll do a panel on sustainable meat on Saturday. We'll do a creative barbecue panel, bringing in a couple other pitmasters from around town that are like specialized in creative recipes. And we'll do like a pickling seminar. It'll be great. So this is the first time we're doing it. So of course, we'll learn as we go.
If you're listening to this, it's too late to go now, but
Yes.
you could probably make the next one. So
Yeah.
I assume you have a website. What's the website?
It is LeRoyandLewis.com. So LeroyandLewis.com. And we're going to do another one in the summer.
That's awesome.
We've filled up really fast. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback. We didn't even really get to promote it because
It filled up?
Yeah, it filled up, and we want to make sure that we can accommodate the group of people that sign up. So
I have a question. So in the 3 years you've been doing this with your business partner, who is such the creative barbecue guy,
yeah.
I mean, the beef cheek is interesting because I'd never heard
Yeah.
of it. But what's another kind of weird thing? Maybe it's not regularly on your menu. Maybe it's just something he did at his house one day.
Oh, I love this question.
What's the weirdest barbecue stuff you guys have done?
Yeah, we've done a lot of weird stuff. We have done tongue. That's kind of a normal weird thing we do.
That taco truck I used to go to in '82. They
What is the thing?
had tongue. They had brain.
Mm-hmm. We don't do brain.
And I did not ever eat tongue or brain. Now they had beef tacos and they had pork tacos, and I forget they had 5 kinds is all they had. And
Yeah.
brain and tongue I never had.
Well,
but I
you're
ate
gonna
the
have
other
to try
3.
it the next time you go.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm try new things only goes so far.
So far. Well, here I think we try to do things that are palatable, and I am the business-oriented person behind the scenes. So it's important that whatever we make, we can also sell. So I think that there is a level of approachability.
If it's going to gross
that has
our
to
people,
happen.
if it's going to gross our customers
Yeah.
out, we probably don't want to serve it. Says the business person.
Yeah, well, and I mean, a lot of the things that Evan really focuses on are pretty approachable and delicious, especially if you can get people to look at them, right?
So tell me what?
Yeah,
are
so he did Menudo for the New Year, and it was actually like the best Menudo I've ever had. They do a variety of different sausages. So him and Brad both collaborate on some unique sausage, fun, like a pozole sausage. I've seen him have Brad actually made a spaghetti and meatball sausage one time with actual spaghetti noodles in the sausage.
Oh my God, that
It looks weird.
No, because like one time my daughters and I made spaghetti and meatball tacos because they'd seen it on
crazy.
They'd seen it on
Yeah.
some TV show that like the dad was home alone and he served spaghetti tacos. So my kids were like, "Mom's gone, let's do that." And we made spaghetti and meatballs and we put them in tortillas, and it was awesome. So I imagine in a sausage, it's awesome.
It was really great. We also do some unique veggie stuff, like you mentioned earlier. We do cauliflower, which is unique to a barbecue spot.
And delicious.
We sometimes do like smoked eggplant, like an eggplant parmesan that is smoked with cheese and marinara. But one of my favorite things to highlight, which is really unique, is we do a cheddar cheesecake. So, yeah.
Tell me more.
So it's like a sweet and savory cheesecake. It has a Ritz cracker crust. The cheesecake also has some cheddar in it. It's topped with a apple butter on top, and then has like a cheddar crisp. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, that sounds gross," but it's like cheese and crackers. It's delicious.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I can't try it now because I gave up wheat and sugar
oh,
for
no!
Lent.
Dang it.
So for Lent, I gave up wheat and sugar. So I cannot have the cheddar cheesecake,
We'll
but
have
I'll
to-
come back after Easter.
Yeah, there's a reason for you to come
We'll
back.
come back after Easter
Yeah.
for that. So I love to ask the people who come on the show, in the world of entrepreneurship and business,
Yep.
who do you admire? Because we could talk about
Oh,
you,
man.
the barbecue truck, the new brewery for hours because
Sure.
you're delightful. However, I think good entrepreneurs are observers. So I love to know, when you look at the entrepreneur sphere, When you look out there, who do you say, she or he, they're doing cool things?
I think there's a lot of people in my industry that are doing a lot of cool things. I think one of the problems in this specific industry is we don't get out as much as we want to, right? We are working, I work all the time, every day. I'm here till 9 o'clock tonight.
Oh, so, wow. And we're recording this at noon, and she was here well before I got here, so that's a long day.
And that's a normal day. But I think there's a lot of people doing innovative things. I am really, at this point, looking to grow the business. So I am actively kind of impressed with people that are taking it to the next level. One of my former bosses, I worked in Houston for 3 years. There's a team, Ryan Pera and Morgan Weber. They started off with one restaurant, and then they opened 2 restaurants that did really well. I think they very quickly cash flowed into a 3rd restaurant, which is now doing very well, and now they own like 6 restaurants.
Wow.
They are, I think, very passionate. They're really motivated. I also have some other influences like that, in Austin. And I think I'm at a place in my life where I am a younger entrepreneur. I am looking for more of that. I'm looking for more inspiration. I'm looking for more business guidance. So if you're out there and you want to be my mentor.
Well, and we talk about that a lot on the show. Mentors are so important. I've talked about it too much, but I have 2 gentlemen who I've mentored for like 7 years. And people are like, how did they end up in your life? And one of them saw me speak. One of them I met randomly. And they both said, oh, would you be my mentor? They were 23 years old. And both of them have excelled. They're both 30. And they both excelled in their very different careers. And their friends are like, how did you get this job? How did you do this? And they go, I just have someone I can always turn to. The way they describe mentorship is having someone you can always turn to who you can tell the good stuff and the bad stuff. Yeah. And there's things about their lives they're not going to tell their boss or they're not going to tell their mom. Yeah. But they can tell me. Yeah. And so it's like I'm able to say, okay, maybe you work around it that way or whatever. So I think mentorship is so important. And so if you're
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're a foodie and you've done this from food truck to 20 restaurants and you're like, I've been looking for a young woman to mentor, contact Sawyer at LeRoy and Lewis Barbecue.
Yeah. And I think that's also really important is along the way as a young woman in this industry, there are times that are tough.
And there's not as many women.
There are a large group of women that I think are now really coming and being highlighted and are coming together to really advocate for one another, which is great. The birds are coming to attack your food.
I was going to say, I moved the food away a little bit and the birds were like, barbecue, here we go.
Yeah, but I also want to do that for other people. So a lot of the people that I have worked for me in the past or currently work for me, I try to make sure to take time and connect with them as much as possible and shelter them through their experience because they are really good times. It's a really hard business.
Which leads me into the next question, because I think if you're fortunate, and you're very fortunate to have a thriving food truck and things like that, I think that entrepreneurs need to find their way to sort of give back to the greater good. Yeah. So, and I know you guys are new and you're starting out, but what do you guys do?
Well, this is a wonderful question that kind of, the last question leads into this. So currently I am working with an organization that was founded in Houston called I'll Have What She's Having. And it is a female-run organization that is raising awareness for female healthcare, and it's specifically focused on the hospitality industry because a lot of women and men that are working in our industry are underinsured or non-insured.
Right.
It's really challenging even from a business perspective to be able to, in our operation, afford healthcare for our employees, so far.
Or for yourself. I'm self-employed. Exactly, and when I look at the amount of money that my wife and I pay for ourselves, and we have an adult daughter who has her own insurance with her fiance, but just us and our one daughter.
Exactly.
It has gotten so out of hand in the 11 years I've been an entrepreneur that it's bleeding us and nothing is covered. We just had to go to the doctor for some stuff and we pay for insurance, but the deductibles are so large and they basically go, no.
Yeah. So we're working with some other community, community clinics to create a fund that will utilize basically we're going to raise money doing what we do best, right? We throw parties, we throw events. We're caterers, we're bartenders. So we're creating a community of people here that highlight women. We're actually going to do an event in May that highlights 8 female chefs from around the community. and 4, 5 female bartenders and female servers, some female managers, some really wonderful event people, and come together and raise money that will hopefully then go into a fund that our volunteers can get a voucher to go and get like a wellness check. So
that
really
is awesome.
Cool.
Well,
yeah.
that is great. And I love this question because there's so many different ways people give back.
Absolutely.
But in 500 interviews, almost everybody gives back in some meaningful way. And I love that about the entrepreneur community.
And I think as a younger entrepreneur, I think that it's always, I was a social worker right out of college. I dabbled in like entry-level social work and then worked in a restaurant on the side to, be able to pay my bills.
Pay your bills.
Yeah. But I definitely am very empathetic and want to be involved in the community. And I see that there is a need for this. So I'm really lucky at this point to take a little bit of time, not too much time, but a little bit of time to devote to this new thing. So
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm really
Sawyer,
excited about
thank you so much for being a guest here on Cool Things Entrepreneurs
Thank you so
Do.
much for having me. I hope we next time when we have our big, beautiful brew pub, you'll get to interview the rest of my crew because
That would
they're
be great.
amazing people.
That would be awesome. Any last words for the audience?
No, make sure you come and check us out. Once again, we have beef cheeks Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whole hog, some creative sausages and sides, and then come out for the Cushy Brisket. This place gets crazy on Saturday and Sunday when the weather's nice, but come, grab a boozy coffee and a beer and come
They do
away a
have
little
boozy
bit.
coffee over at Cosmic
that's like
Coffee, so that's really
their
good.
Cool thing.
They are cool. We should interview them.
Yeah,
they should be the next
connect
interview
you
on
with
Cool
them,
Things Entrepreneurs Do. All right, thank you again for being here, and thank you to everybody who tuned in. I say it every single episode. If it wasn't for the audience, why would we do this show? There'd be no reason. So make sure that you come back every Tuesday and Thursday because I always try to have interviews with really cool people. Like we just did, like Sawyer Lewis, very cool. And I think I'm going to start a new thing where I go and let people give me food while I interview them because this was awesome.
That idea. Great idea.
I've never sat down and ate while I'm doing the interview, and now I'm like, what other restaurateurs?
Cool things.
That's right. What other restaurateurs can I interview?
That's great.
Because if this is the way it goes, this was a delicious meal. So make sure that if you're local, you run out to LeRoy and Lewis.
Or if you're coming in from out of town.
If you're coming in, check them out online. You can take an Uber straight from the airport right to Cosmic Coffee and eat this barbecue. But in the meantime, like I said, come back every Tuesday and Thursday for really interesting interviews. We're going to be back in a couple of days with somebody just as cool as Sawyer. I know you're thinking, how is that possible? But it's true. But in the meantime, go out there, make sure your ladder's against the right wall. Try some new things. And while you're at it, have a great day.
Thank you for being part of the Cool Things Entrepreneurs Do podcast. Without your participation and listening to these conversations, there is no show. Connect with Tom at tomsinger.com and follow him on Twitter at TomSinger.